first of all, what did you make of the debate between Sir Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak last night?
I think it should have had a disclaimer saying not for viewers in Scotland. Of course, there wasn't one mention of Scotland. The largest party in Scotland, the third largest party in the House of Commons, was excluded from it. And of course, the really important things for Scotland, Brexit, the impact of it, and the offer from both Tory and Labour to continue with austerity weren't really covered. So, and of course, we got to the end of the debate and we were talking about England's hopes for the European Championships, and best of luck to them. It was as if Scotland hadn't even qualified. So it really was not relevant or instructive or helpful for the people of Scotland.
You say 57 seats, obviously, the largest party at the moment, but the latest prediction, poll suggesting that you'll only win 17 out of 57, I should say, in total, at the next election on the 4th of July. Do you think, if that's the case, you'll still have the support of the Scottish people?
Well, I don't think that's what's going to happen, and we've had these predictions before, but the last poll was actually not that one, but one from Survation yesterday, which showed us winning more seats once again than any other party. And I think the longer we have John Swinney in place, with the stability that he's brought to the party, with the business-friendly approach that he's taken, then I think that can grow in terms of the polls between now and then. We are aiming to be, once again, the largest party in Scotland.
Just to clarify, I know previously we've heard from the leader before last who said this general election would be a de facto independence referendum. Is that still what the SNP thinks?
No, the SNP passed a policy previously or subsequent to that policy, which means that we are aiming to be the largest party in Scotland, to win more seats than any other party. And that being the case, we'll take that as a mandate to start negotiations on independence with the UK government, whoever is that comes in. We can't any longer have a situation where democracy is denied in Scotland, where the party that wins the election in Scotland does not have the opportunity to follow through on its mandate. So that's what we'll be aiming for, to be the largest party in Scotland, to win more seats than other parties, and to follow through on that commitment.
We have been here before, though, haven't we?
Well, that's right. And really, it's a question for the other parties as to why the rules that apply in UK politics, where the largest party gets to enact its mandate, is denied to the people of Scotland and has been repeatedly over a number of years.
That's because Westminster, isn't that because Westminster has decides whether or not that happens? Isn't that why?
That's exactly the point. Westminster decides, and it shouldn't. It should be the people of Scotland that are sovereign. They should decide, and we should have that referendum. We should be able to move forward to independence, which is currently the favoured option of around half of the Scottish electorate. And I think with an independence campaign, as we did last time, we could massively grow that.
OK, if you don't win a majority of seats in Scotland, will you accept that the people of Scotland don't want independence?
Well, even if that were the case, and I don't think that's going to happen, then we still have the polls which show around 50% of people in Scotland currently support independence. And they do that because we've been taken out of the EU against our will. We are facing 14 years and more years now of austerity, with all that entails, with wage suppression, some of the lowest pensions available. And we see other countries the size of Scotland, like Norway and Denmark, progressing, more equal, more prosperous, better pensions, better social security provision, no nuclear weapons, and the cost of nuclear weapons being based in their countries. So it will continue to be an attractive option for the people of Scotland. That's not going to go away. And I think the sooner the major UK parties understand that, then the better the chance is that they will understand the democratic imperative in Scotland towards independence.
Does your party support new oil and gas developments in the North Sea?
Well, the Scottish Government is currently out to consultation on that. What they've said is there'll be a presumption against new gas fields, except where there may be exceptions. And those exceptions would have to go through a stringent climate compatibility test. But that's out to consultation just now, and the Scottish Government will come back on that very shortly.
It is indeed. So how will you be providing jobs to people in the northeast of Scotland if you don't develop any further oil and gas developments?
Well, that's a very good point, and we think there should be transition funding. We've provided hundreds of millions of pounds already for that. When the oil price collapsed previously, we made sure that people could transition to other professions, in particular to renewables. And it may interest your viewers to know that in Scotland, we regularly have more than 100%, sometimes 110% of all our energy needs in Scotland met from renewable sources. We want to increase that further. We want to make sure that people are not, like during what happened in the 1980s with Margaret Thatcher, who apparently is admired by Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer, not throwing people onto the scrap heap, but by providing them with the alternatives, the training that's necessary to get them jobs, good, well-paid jobs in renewable sectors and in other areas as well.
Rachel Reeves, the Shadow Chancellor for now, says the Labour government would work in partnership with the SNP. Would you work with them, and what would that look like?
Well, the SNP has always tried to work. I was in government for 10 years. We worked with Labour governments. We worked with the Cameron government relatively effectively. There is no decent working relationship with this current government, and that's been true since Boris Johnson and Brexit. And what we've seen is a regular interfering in the Scottish democratic process. But we'll take it, the Scottish government will take it at its face value, whichever government's elected, and try to work for the benefit of the people of Scotland. We've always taken that approach, but we know the limitations of that, and that's why we think it's far better that decisions that are made in Scotland are made by the people of Scotland for the people of Scotland, and that's why we want to be independent. If they can respect our position, then we will respect their position as well, of course.
Just to clarify, she did say working in partnership with the SNP when she was up in Edinburgh on a visit as part of the election campaign. Would you work in partnership with Labour if asked?
Well, first of all, there are fundamental disagreements. I mentioned, obviously, independence, but we don't support Brexit. We want to get Scotland back in the EU. So we're not going to be in partnership with continue to try to, as they say, make Brexit work. It's not working. It's costing massive jobs. We don't support austerity, which Rachel Reeves does. But, of course, within that, there are day-to-day working between the different governments. It happens all the time, not usually reported, which can be very effective. And, of course, we'd seek to do that.
OK, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.